います。
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back to the Necro Zoo. I am Bones. And in this one, let's go ahead and finish up the Dark Knight Returns wave from McFarlane's DC Multiverse collection. Now I have already done the Batman, the Superman, and the Joker. So now all we have to do is look at Carrie Kelly, Robin, and then we will be able to put the horse together. Now this is probably going to be the most accurate representation of a character from the Dark Knight Returns. I do have my old school Dark Knight Returns graphic novel here that has a lot of images of Carrie Kelly. And we have also received different versions of this figure from DC Direct and Mattel. But I do by far think this is going to be the more superior figure. Now she does look like a Spud in the packaging, but let's go ahead and take a look at her. But first, she does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Now these are not needed, but sometimes they come in useful. She also comes with her data file card. On the front you have some figure photography, and on the back you do have some information. Go ahead and add this to the collection. She comes with one accessory, which is her slingshot. Of course, there are images of her in the comic, iconic images of her using the slingshot, so pretty cool little accessory. And of course, she does come with the final pieces of the horse. We'll put that together at the end of the video, really quick just to get through it. But let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, as I said before, this is coming straight from the pages of the graphic novel into our hands. She looks really good. Love the color tint of her hair. Love the clear goggles. And love the representation of the old school Robin suit in this version. All in all, she looks really good. Now let's take a look at the head. She does have the side eye going on if you look through the lenses, but it kind of works for her. The sculpting of the hair is spot on. Now she can look up pretty good. She looks down. You have right. And you have left. And of course you can cock her head for some character. Now this is by far one of the best Carrie Kelly head sculpts. The transparent glasses that she has just really puts in a physical form the glasses from the graphic novel, which is really awesome. So all in all, this head sculpt is a 10 out of 10. Moving down, as I said before, love the representation of the old school Robin costume on this one. Looks really good. Nice pliable soft plastic, and actually is really well proportionate from the bottom to the top. So that's really nice. Now her arms, she does have a butterfly shoulder joint, but it's really minimal. It's kind of tight in there. But she does have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then of course the wrist ball articulation. You could get a lot of movement in the wrist, and that helps out for using the slingshot. Now interestingly enough, she does surpass even the T pose, and you can actually get her in a pretty nice Y pose, which is always appreciated. Moving down, traditional Robin costume down into the legs. Now she has a different kind of hip joint here than the traditional McFarlane figures, but it still works. You can still bend her leg and get that awesome hip rotation. Nicely sculpted out legs, straighten her out, and then you have double jointed knees. Going down to the ankles, you have up and down, left to right, ankle rocker, and a little tiny toe articulation. Now, all in all, looking at her legs, they're really nice. The only sculpted out really nicely. The only thing that is a detractor is that the ankle ball joints are a little bit big. I mean, they kind of get lost in the top part of her little green booties, but sometimes you can't actually see them. They predominantly stick out, which is an eyesore. But they do work really well, so for functionality, it's all right. Taking a look at her from the bottom, no tread, but some sculpted out details. And then coming up the back, nicely sculpted legs into her little tush. And then her cape. It's not the softest, but it's nicely sculpted. I love the way it goes around her neck, like the collar style cape, and it is traditional to the comic. A really nice cape, actually. Love the kind of matte yellow. It's not shiny at all. It's kind of like a dead yellow where it doesn't, give off any shine, which actually looks really good. Now, one thing I heard tons of people complaining about with this figure was that her feet were so small that she was really hard to stand. Now, I really hate this because I don't know if I'm like a master of standing McFarlane figures, but I hardly ever have any problem standing the figures. I could mess with it, put it down, and it stands. Pick it up, mess with it, put it down, and it stands. Pick it up, move the legs around, and it stands. So I just don't get why people say that they're hard to stand. But it is what it is. Let's see if she'll stand for me. There you go. No problem. Now let's take a look at her. First, let's bring out the old school Mattel DC Universe Classics Robin, because it is, the same kind of scheme design of the Robin costume. A little bit of throwback to the old traditional Robin costume. And then let's bring out the Mattel version, which was really not the best representation of the character, especially the goggles were like solid. They didn't even take the time to make it transparent plastic. But she did come with her slingshot, and for a long time this was an okay version. Of course, the DC Direct versions are way superior to this one, to the Mattel one, but I think from now on I'll have the McFarlane one in my collection, and that'll be my go-to Robin figure. Now, let's go ahead and throw the horse together before we get out of here. I do have all the parts here. The head, the back legs, the tail, the saddle, and the two smaller legs. Now, not sure how this is going to go, but let's try and put it together really quick. I guess you clamp these together, these two halves. There. And then I have heard that you really should put saddle on first before you put the legs on. So let's go ahead and do that. Kind of tight, but it is on there. There you go. So then you have the head. Not sure how this is supposed to, there you go in there. Then you have the two front legs. It does have a little letter on there, so you know this is the left one. So this is the right one. Then you have the two back legs. Once again, pay attention. Looks like it goes this way. And this one. Okay. You have your tail. There you go. Now, it is kind of a good idea to get some images, you know, of horses. That way you could place it in a more natural pose or the way it should go. But we do have the Batman figure that is supposed to ride the horse. Get him on there. The reins in his hands. You know, so I will, you know, take some pictures maybe and work with it a little bit more, play around with it. But that is the finished horse, and the Batman does fit nicely on there actually, and his boots fit right into the stirrups. Pretty cool. So anyways, guys, that's it for now. Glad to get this wave out of the way. We'll move on to some other figures. You guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.